certainly been through it, Aries. Certainly been through it. And uncharacteristically, you fell for a hedonistic narcissist. And I don't know if that's why you're now lying awake at night worrying. Maybe it is. But also uncharacteristically, your heart is still full of love. If anything, you're still a bit of a fool for love, if the truth be known. It's really not like you normally. But it's interesting to see. You'd certainly had enough. You'd certainly... starting off on a new journey with a wide-eyed innocence, throwing away all that you previously cared about, going off on a new adventure. You have another important decision to make, and it's a very difficult one. You don't feel like you've got all the information. Both sides seem equally good or equally bad, but I do believe you make it, and as a result, money flows to you, which is a little bit of a surprise. Well, is it a surprise? I'm not sure it is, no. No, I think you had a decision to make. I wonder if it was between love or money and you chose money. Because, after the money, in the future, love's going to come back. And there's no indication that this is the same narcissistic hedonist. In fact, there's every indication that this is somebody very well suited to you. What would change things is, I think, you overthinking. I think being a bit too cerebral instead of following your heart. So even though I think you choose money over love, I think it's still an emotional choice. I might have got that wrong. But I think that's what this means. When we look in detail at this, I'll check on that, but I think that's what it means. But overall, I'd say that you're recovering very nicely, Aries. Yeah. Now, as I say, you still seem to be full of love. And still, if anything, a bit of a fool for love. And it's that energy that dominates this reading. I can't see in this that you get taken again. And I think it's really that you're still reflecting on all that's happened to you. And it has been tumultuous because it's not really like you, what's happened. And yeah, it's still having an impact on your life. In particular, your heart is very open. And this isn't really like you, but your heart is now very open. Some might say a little bit too open, but certainly for this reading, it looks like it brings benefits to you. So I can't criticise it. Now, you have been shaken by events. As I say, very uncharacteristic to fall in love with a hedonistic narcissist. I mean, that was some time ago, but it has impacted on you. Recovering from narcissistic abuse takes a long, long time, and I really know it. If indeed you ever do. And I think as a result, you're still having nightmares. You're still lying awake at night with worry. You're probably still lying awake at night saying, if only I'd done that, if only I'd done this. And you were being manipulated. There's nothing you could have done. But you'll torment yourself with this for some time. And it's still happening, and I feel sorry for you, I really do. your response to all that's gone on, I think, is a very understandable, probably even the right response. And that is to begin a new journey. To begin a new journey with a wide-eyed innocence. You know you'll make mistakes again, but you're relishing the challenges. You're relishing it. You know, if you look at this particular rendering, there he is with all his possessions on his back, sun shining down on him, his little dog's following him. But is his dog trying to warn him he's about to step off a cliff? And I think that sums up this energy. It's not a bad energy, it's a very good energy, and probably a very appropriate energy to have right now. But yeah, things won't necessarily go perfectly for you in the future. But if you can have a light heart, then things will feel better. And you know, I'm sure this happens because you've got a light heart. You've gone off on a new journey. New journey with great expectations, great enthusiasm. And you've also got an open heart. Heart on your sleeve. You're open to new things. Blow me down, a new love comes to you. I don't think for 1 minute this is another hedonistic narcissist. I think this is somebody that's much more suited to you. And I think it's going to feel wonderful. It comes in the future, sorry. It's not in the month of October. But, you know, in the future you will get this new love and it will feel perfect. And I'm certain it's because you have changed. You know, you've opened your heart, you've opened your life. You've opened your life to this happening to you. You have an important decision to make in October, and it's one where both sides seem equally good or equally bad. In part, it's because you don't have the full information, and maybe you could get hold of the full information. But I've got a very strong feeling that, you know, with being led by the heart, with going off on a new journey with this wide-eyed innocence, you actually throw a bit of caution to the wind. And I think it really works out for you. I think it really works out for you. You have to take the decision, but in the past you'd have wanted all the information at your fingertips before you could take it. You'd want to have thought it through very carefully. But I don't think you do. And I think you do exactly the right thing. You're being led by the heart now, which isn't like you at all, Aries. Now, I think the outcome's a good outcome. I think things really are working out for you. Thank goodness, Aries. You need a bit of luck on your side. But what would change it is, I think, you going back to being the old cerebral self, wanting to have the information at your fingertips, or wanting to really think about it, not necessarily not acting. No, I think you always are a person of action. You don't procrastinate. But what you do is you want to control, you want to understand things, you want to analyse things. And I think if you were to do that in these circumstances, it would be retrograde, because you seem to have found a way to tap into what your heart is telling you to do, and it appears to be working. You see, the outcome is almost certainly new wealth. And I thought it was that your decision was between love or money, but I don't think it was that. I think, I'm not even certain you sort of took a decision to go for money, but the decision you take leads to new money, and that's often how things work out, you know. Things don't work out as we'd planned them, and maybe that's the big lesson, you know, why you shouldn't be minutely planning, because you do end up with wealth, and it's a wonderful wealth. You look at the rendering of this card, you know, they're in this garden and everything is lovely in the garden, but if you go through that gate it's quite barren. But only if you do that are you likely to find new wealth. And I think it's a decision like that you take. You just say, to hell with it, I'm going to go and look for something different. And that does lead to wealth, even though you weren't looking for it. Aries, nobody can say that over the last few months you've not been through the mill, and it's been very uncharacteristic. You know, you fell for a hedonistic narcissist and it's had a major impact on your life. You're still lying awake worrying over it, and you will do, you know, it takes time to recover. You're saying, if only I'd done this, if only I'd done that, and like, no, you were being manipulated, you know, but you can't see that. But fortunately, it's left you much more open to things, much less like the Aries we know and love, but an Aries who throws caution to the wind, an Aries who follows their heart. And certainly in this month of October, that's absolutely the right thing to be doing. You know, you're embarking on a new journey, really. As I say, throwing caution to the wind. You know not everything will go well. Not everything will go well. But some things will. And you're looking forward to it. You've got big decisions to make, and they're difficult decisions. You can't really tell which is the best option. And to a certain degree, you don't have all the information. And in the past, you'd have demanded that information. You'd have thought about it for a long time. I'm not saying you wouldn't act, because you do act. But in the past, you'd have thought about it. But this time, you are throwing caution to the wind. You're just saying, let's go for it. And in opening a new door, as it were, it leads to wealth. I'm not even certain that one of the options was wealth. I'm not certain you were even seeking it. But it leads to wealth. And quite amazingly, or maybe it's not amazingly, but I don't think there's anything untoward in this. But after this month, that wealth leads to a new love. As I say, I don't think it's another hedonistic narcissist. I don't think it's a gold digger. No, I think it's somebody that's very, very suited to you. And it'll feel perfect. And so I'm pleased for you. I really am, Aries.